elaborate of this webinar. Right? Let's talk about the GPT part of eSense GPT. In very, very simple words, GPT is the technology that powers generative AI. Now, what is generative AI? This is a type of AI that actually produces various types of content like text, images, audio, etc. Right? For the purposes of today's discussion, we will be focusing on the textual part of generative AI. So now that I have kind of skimmed upon generative AI and GPT, what is eSense GPT? eSense GPT is what powers Engati's generative AI solution. What we have done is, using a combination of our own NLP and other LLMs, we have built a platform that gives companies very easy access and usable access to generative AI, to the power of generative AI to solve multiple business challenges. Like I mentioned, we will break down what this exactly means during the course of this webinar. Now that we have covered that, I'll spend some time on why we have decided to do this webinar, right? I lead the enterprise sales function at Engati, and over the last 3 months, I've had very interesting conversations with a lot of senior people from a lot of enterprises. The main takeaway I have got from them is everybody wants to use generative AI to make business better. What do you mean by making business better? It could mean selling more, spending less, increasing customer satisfaction, reducing time taken to train employees. The list is almost endless. Quite a few companies know exactly what they want to solve and how they want to do it, but many, many others need to be guided, right? And as this technology is evolving and growing in capability almost on a daily basis, it becomes challenging to set expectations as well, right? There are things that cannot be solved even today, but on the other hand, things that couldn't be solved a month ago can be solved today, right? A good example is GPT-4 over GPT-3, right? Let me just also, before being done with this introduction, tell you a little more about some of the use cases that I have come across while speaking to many of these customers. One of the most common use cases I have come across is making big data useful to end users, right? This could mean end users, could mean customers of banks, insurance companies, hospitals, educational institutions, stock advisors, e-commerce companies. The list, again, as long as you're B2C, this will be useful. You will be an end user to that brand, right? Let's take the example of a hospital. As you can imagine, they will have a lot of information with regards to health conditions, side effects, healthy living advice, even treatment methodologies, right? Treatment methodologies does not mean it could be the same for everybody. For example, eating less sugar for a diabetic is a good idea, but there might be a hospital that has invested millions in some equipment, and maybe their way of treating a particular condition is different compared to another hospital that kind of treats the same condition, but in a very different way, right? Similarly, let's say there's a company that makes it easy for end users to invest in stocks and mutual funds, for example, right? By giving them access to a trading account. But this company will also need to make, recommendations on what are good stocks to invest in, things like that. Just giving access to a trading account may not be the only thing they need to do to make sure that customers go to them to open a trading account, right? So these companies are going to create recommendations of which stocks and mutual funds are performing well and things like that. And as you can imagine, this type of information can change almost on a daily basis. So in both these cases, there is so much data, but it is not in a format or in a channel that is accessible to the end consumer, right? This is where Engati's generative AI assistant, powered by eSense GPT, makes its presence felt, right? Engati has made it incredibly easy to just upload all of this tons of information and just with the click of a few buttons, make an AI assistant extremely intelligent with all data that you want it to have, so that it can cater to the various questions that your end users will have, right? These are just some of the two of the use cases that I have come across, and I have made it part of our introduction. There is a lot of work that Engati has done to make this possible. Having said that, let me introduce you to my co-host today. Anvesh is the Senior Vice President at Engati and heads the AI and NLP function, which is responsible for what we are going to see today. Hi, Anvesh.
Hi, Eric. Thank you, and welcome everyone to the webinar.
Yeah. So before I hand it over to Anvesh, that was my long down introduction to what we're going to do, right? I covered what is Essence GPT in the agenda, and also some of the use cases of why enterprises are looking at investing in this technology and what are they trying to solve, right? So we will quickly run through the rest of the agenda, which is challenges faced by enterprises, how Essence GPT is going to solve these challenges. And then we'll move on to the tech side of things that Anvesh will take you through, a product demo and some information about the tech stack. And then we'll open up the floor for questions. Yes, Anvesh.
Thank you, Eric. And I'll just start from where Eric was mentioning about why enterprises are interested in adopting the GPT technology. So it is obviously because there are a lot of challenges which enterprises have today, which they haven't solved or they haven't solved it well. And they are looking for a technology which can solve that. And especially they are looking for a technology that has access to a lot of data. And as all of us know that almost all enterprises have invested significantly in building out their big data warehouses, the data lakes, and all of those sort of giant repositories of data they are collecting about customers, their vendors, suppliers. All of that data is available to enterprises. Now, one of the main challenges with big data is that the return on investment is not significant so far. And a lot of people are trying it out. They have been trying out to get the return on investment, sort of monetize their data, use that data to sell more, use that data to have give better customer service, or recommend the best product that customers may be willing to buy. All of that data is available, but there is no way to kind of take that data, understand it, and derive intelligence out of it and help the enterprises to kind of do better in what they're doing. So this GPT technology has been used by Engati, and sort of we are solving problems. We'll go through some demos where we can demonstrate that, where we can look at the enterprise data, be it in structured data in a table, or be it the website data, or be it any document repositories that they may have. And we are making all of that queryable in a natural language way. So that helps to kind of have everybody in the enterprise, including the customers, internal and external, to kind of get access to the data and get insights from the data, help them in the decision making. And this definitely will help in increasing the top line, because one of the key goals of building out investing in such big data warehouses and data lakes is to get return on the investment. The next part is fairly critical, and I think all of us have seen that with ChatGPT. The moment ChatGPT was released last November, everybody who had access to it were using it, and they're pleasantly surprised that any question that they have, which today most people go to Google and ask questions, and they get a bunch of URLs that they have to visit and figure out the answer. But ChatGPT gives you the answer directly. It talks to you in a personalized tone. It gives you contextual sort of information, and it's as if you're talking to a human, right? So that accessibility to human beings is very critical, and that accessibility is provided using a natural language, which most people are comfortable with. For example, if I'm a customer and I want to know about my order status. Now, if I give him a row of data saying, oh, the order has gone through creation, then there was a change in the order, you added one more line item, and then after that, it was in transit, and all of that details, I don't think they care for that, right? But what would they like to know is what is the current status and why is it delayed and those kind of things. So how do you answer queries in a human-like manner and have that data available or information available at the fingertips? So that is something that we have cracked using this technology. And now we can access any data that is available anywhere in the enterprise or even in the public website. And that helps us to break the data silos. One of the biggest challenges in enterprise is that marketing has their own database, sales has their own database, or the sales data, leads data is in Salesforce, and my marketing data is in some other marketing system, and they don't talk to each other. And now I have to, as an enterprise, build a bridge between them, get the data, have a data science team which will go and look into it and give me insights. All of that goes away. The third one, I think, very critical to have enterprises adopt AI systems and get benefit from it is that traditionally building out any AI models is not trivial. You need a very good data set. You need to come up with the right parameters that are applicable to your business. You need a talented team of ML engineers and data scientists to solve the problem. More importantly, it's not just about building out a model. The output of the model has to be in a consumable form for an end user. And if I'm a marketing manager, I should be able to ask a query saying which are the channels that I should invest in, right? And I don't care about the models which are doing all this work behind the scene, but I need the answer right now. I need it in the language that I understand, or I can speak to assistant and I can get the answer in voice. So that's the expectations customers have. So reducing the time to build and maintain AI systems is a very key factor, and that helps in overall reducing the cost to adopt new technology. As all of us know, technology cannot get adopted unless it is economically viable. So for example, if you have nuclear technology, like host of governments who can do it and very few private companies who can do it, the cost is so exorbitant that nobody else can do it, right? So making the cost at having a cost to adopt new technology at a level that people can afford and get a return on investment is very key. And we are reducing that to almost zero. So as Eric pointed out earlier, you give us the data from your enterprise, we'll self-train the system, and we'll use GPT. And along with GPT, we have our own NLP proprietary technology that we have built over the years. We merge them, we mix them up, and then we kind of help you by reducing the effort that you have to spend in creating data sets, training the bot, keeping it up to date with the latest data. All of that we take care of. Engati has a very good low-code, no-code conversational builder. We are in the conversational AI space, and it is very critical to kind of have an easy way to have access to the conversational system by people who do not or may not be very comfortable with technology. So the low-code, no-code builder can help in building out workflows that are very specific to your enterprise. And this obviously reduces the cost of your adopting and keeping it running. The next point, personally for me, is the biggest thing that I think is not there currently, which this will bring in, is that we have lots of dashboards, we have lot of reports that people build, and I'm sure if any one of you are in a data analyst or a data science team, you would get ad hoc requests all the time. And any dashboard you build, probably after a month, nobody wants to use it. They have new requirements. So as your business changes, as the market changes, as competition comes in and does something which disrupts what you're doing, as a new technology like GPT comes in, disrupts lots of businesses, all the data, all the dashboards, all the reports that you have are no longer useful, right? And you need to quickly be able to look at the latest data, compare it with what you have, and give out an answer, give out an insight, tell me what to do, and I can wait for 2 weeks to get a new dashboard. Using generative technology and using some of the existing proprietary NLP technology that we are able to generate insights from data and give it out in a conversational manner and in a natural language. And this helps in supplementing and augmenting intelligence of either users who want to decide which product to buy, or sales executive or a marketing executive knowing which product to cross-sell, which product to upsell, what content should I serve when somebody is asking, how is your product better than the competitor, right? All of that requires intelligence to extract from the data that you have. So all of us know the data pyramid, right? You have data, then you get information out of it, then you build knowledge out of it. But the top of the pyramid is the intelligence, the wisdom of understanding what you can do with that. So we feel with what we tested so far, this is possible, and we'll give you a short demo of that. And obviously, augmented intelligence is definitely going to help you in increasing your top line. You can do things faster in a more productive manner. You can actually sell the product that customer want to buy. You can reduce your time to respond to customer queries. And at the same time, you can also find out uncovered areas where you can reduce your cost or become more efficient. Then what Engati does is that it has taken all these challenges. It has adopted language model. All of us know LLM is large language model, and GPT 3.5, Chat GPT, GPT-4, Google's Bard, or the Palm that Google has. These are all called large language models, and large language models are huge models which have been trained with almost all the data that humanity has generated in the digital space in the last 100 years maybe. And it is able to find patterns in that. It is able to understand what the data means. And now we can tap into it, and for different use cases like answering customer queries or getting an insight about orders that you think should have been higher but is not, or kind of summarizing documents and classifying the intent, knowing what the user is asking for from the intent, understanding the sentiment of the user. All of that is now possible without too much of training. And we are using the GPT technology, embedding it within the Engati platform, making it accessible through assistants. And AI assistant is the hottest sort of terminology right now in the technology space. Assistants are already there, like you have Alexa, you have the Google Assistant, you have Siri, and all of us who have used those assistants know that they are very simplistic assistants and can do a few things, and a lot of things they can do or don't understand. What the LLM technology has done is move that bar a lot higher, that today I can understand why my orders are low than last week by asking a question in a natural language way, which Alexa cannot do, right? So we're bringing in that assistant kind of technology, which has been out there, but used for very simple use cases, now into the enterprise. And enterprises can now build their assistants to help their external customers or internal customers to solve some of the problem that we highlighted above. And Engati has packaged all of that into Eastern GPT. Eastern GPT is the technology that Engati has come up with, which integrates existing NLP technology that Engati has with the LLM technology from all these different cloud platforms, and also kind of embedded the domain and use case based knowledge into it. So that's kind of quick review of what are the challenges enterprises are facing. And I'll then hand over to Eric to talk about which are the areas we already have progressed and have something that customers are already using.
Thanks, Anvesh. So what all Anvesh just said mean for you as a business, especially when it comes to your conversations with your customers, right? Obviously, being the fact that it's automated, it gives you 24/7 customer service at very consistent levels of quality. So you have a bot that is not getting tired, that is not taking leave, and you have an assistant that is kind of talking to customers with the same amount of intelligence that you have trained it on. And you therefore have a more consistent level of customer service. The fact that these assistants can be deployed on multiple channels, making sure that they are reaching customers where they want to be reached, is also a huge advantage. The fact that this amount of intelligence can be translated into various languages makes you get access to a lot of customers who normally wouldn't be using these channels to actually talk to you. They would maybe come to your physical store, and that is not something that is something that they would do very often. So multilingual support will help with that as well. And then there is the obvious challenge of streamlining marketing and sales. As you imagine, marketing is a huge function in most organizations now, but there is still some concern on how much marketing contributes to actual sales, right? So here you can use the assistant to actually do marketing by reaching out to your prospects or customers, sending out whatever message you want, measuring their intent, measuring what type of response they have, and basically kind of doing assisted conversions. Even the Gen AI assistant itself can help with completing the whole sale, but if that's not part of your workflow, where you need actual human salespeople to do it, your human salespeople now work on a lot more qualified data that your marketing exercise has given them, right? You can share customer surveys. We have seen in our experience a huge spike in customer satisfaction, also therefore boosting customer retention. Obviously, the fact that we are using various LLMs and that to domain-specific LLMs, this kind of gives customers the impression that not that they're talking to humans, but it's not an experience that is very obviously not human, right? And using the intelligence, we have predictive data with analytics, and then there is easier conversion. And when it comes to e-commerce, you also have the personalized type of recommendations based on customer behavior, what they have bought in the past, what they have browsed in the past. And this is n equals one type of personalization recommendations, which automatically increase average order values and CLTVs, etc. So yeah, that is a quick run through of how what we are doing in the Gen AI space is solving actual business challenges when it comes to customer experience. I'll now hand it over to Anvesh for the best part of today's webinar, which is an actual demo of the product. Yeah, back to you, Anvesh.
Thanks, Eric. So I'll just go over two assistants that we built. I hope my screen is visible. Okay, thanks. So the first one is kind of an assistant for healthcare domain. And all of us, whenever we have any health problem, either personally or among our friend circle or in the family, I'm sure all of us are not doctors, so we want to know about the disease. And all of us head to Google. I think jokingly, a lot of people say that, hey, Dr. Google can answer all those queries that you have. Although Google gives out good answers, no doubt. But again, the same thing, that it gives you a lot of info that you may not have time to read. So we built a domain LLM. And when I call it as domain LLM, what I mean is this language model uses the GPT model for language understanding, but has been trained with the data from healthcare domain, from public, government, and any other authorized sources which give out correct data, correct facts. And we build this out because we want to give a jumpstart to customers who are in the healthcare domain. Not all of them have so much of data that they can tap into. So think of a hospital who, and they have probably a website with hundreds or few hundred pages, and have some blogs and have some information about doctors and all of that. But they may not have a lot of details about the diseases or treatment or symptoms, because not everybody invests in building out content. So if that hospital has to build an AI assistant, and as all of us know, we think ChatGPT knows everything, it should give all answers. But hey, once you train the data of that particular customer, it doesn't have any information about diseases, then it's not going to work. So we provide the domain data and we overlay the customer's data. And let's see, so let me ask about a particular disease. So let me say, can you tell me about heart disease? And as you can see here, this assistant understands natural language query. It takes the language capabilities of our GPT model, and it gives you an answer in a manner that you can easily consume. Now, how long the answer would be, what kind of formatting you need are all configuration options. Now, for this bot, we wanted a little bit of verbose, not like ChatGPT, which gives out lots of information, but maybe like in a bulleted points. So now if you see, it is giving out all this information from the domain LLM training data that we have. Now, once you have this, it is when you talk to humans, you kind of do not ask the entire query. So let's say I ask, I want to know about the symptoms, right? So I'll just say, okay, what are the symptoms, right? Now, when you talk to a human, when you're talking over in a phone or talking to a person, once you've already asked about heart disease, and then you're saying symptoms, the human brain builds up the context. It understands that the symptom is related to heart disease. In most of the traditional chatbots, if you just say symptoms, it may give you some generic symptom, or it will say, I didn't understand what you're asking. So now if you look at it, it is giving you symptoms, and these are all sort of symptoms for the heart disease. Now, another question that I may have is that, okay, what is the treatment? Right? These are all, if you ask me, typical questions that people run through when they want to know about a disease and what to do, how to deal with it. And as Eric was pointing out, especially for health-related queries, people, I think, would be very comfortable talking to an anonymous source, right? Like a assistant, and not necessarily talk to a human unless they're comfortable with the human, unless they know the person and they don't want to say a lot of health details, right? So, so here you can anonymously talk to an assistant, get all the information that you want. And if you look at it here, we haven't even asked who is the user. We haven't collected any information about the user. So it's all very anonymous, right? And so now if you look at it, it's giving you advice on what kind of treatment, what lifestyle changes you need to do. So it's like an advisor. And if you look at after the response, you see that it is what we call as a nudge. So the end goal of any enterprise is that once you engage your user and once you understand the intent. So here the intent is somebody talking about heart disease, then talking about symptoms, treatment. So the intent is becoming very strong that they may need help, right? And probably they're not asking for it directly. So here the bot is trying to if I'm a human and somebody is asking about treatment, the next question I would say is, hey, do you want to talk to a doctor? Do you want to book an appointment? So empathetically, the bot is trying to understand from the intent that this guy needs help, and it is triggering sort of a nudge saying, do you want to book an appointment, right? Or do you want to do something else? Now, let's say we want to book an appointment, right? And here is the part which is interesting, which I was talking about before. Now the bot has moved from a query mode to a workflow mode. Now, booking an appointment would be very different for different healthcare providers, hospitals, and they may not be the same thing. So they may want to customize it. So we have built out a standard appointment booking workflow so that if somebody thinks that they can directly use it out of the box, well and good. But if they want to change it, now here they may want to add more cities. Fine, that's a small task for us. We have the low-code, no-code builder. So I can choose a city. I'm in Bangalore, so let me choose Bangalore. Then let me book it for, let's say, next week, right? So then it is giving me the slots, right? And I'm a morning person, so let me choose this slot. And I can choose any of the slots, and I keep going till the assistant actually is doing the task of a human being in terms of helping out, book appointment, and sort of register that in the hospital backend system, right? So in addition to what we saw here, I also wanted to kind of tell you what are the other flows that we have built out of the box. So these are the typical flows, like you want to book an appointment, you want to go and have a health checkup, you want to get your health reports, or you want to talk about mental health, right? All of this is available out of the box, and this can be customized. We can add more stuff, and that is going to build it for you, or if you have the domain expertise, you can build it out on your own. So this is one of the domain healthcare LLM that we've already built, and we are trying it out with customers. Like that, we are also going to build out domain LLMs for other sort of domains in finance, insurance, stock advisory, and e-commerce, edtech. So as and when we see customers coming in, we will have all those LLMs available out of the box. So I'll quickly jump to how this bot was trained. I think I wanted to go through the flow and then go over how this bot is sort of trained. Just give me a minute, I'll just log in. So as all of you know, Engati is a conversational AI platform, and we have a portal where you can configure and train all the bots. And here, sort of, I'm logging into Engati's portal. So if you are a customer, you will see this. These are the bots, and Names happens to be the customer's name here. And if I click on this bot, which I've been using, and I go to the train section. So this is the training that we have done on the bot. So how did we do the training? So we took all these different sources from a website called Everyday Health. This is a very good website which gives you a lot of data about health. And then in order to train it, all you need to do is you need to give all the page links, right? All the URLs. So if I just edit, you'll see this is the URL for the website link. And if you have thousands of URL, like you have very good content, you have 5,000 URLs, there's a way to bulk upload all of that. And not just URLs, you can upload PDF documents. You can also upload tabular data in CSV format. You can have PDFs which have text and tabular data. A lot of financial reports are like that. And all the documents can be uploaded, and Engati has the technology to train all of the assistants with this data and make it ready in like matter of minutes. I'll then go to another very interesting use case, and personally for me, this is a very difficult problem that we wanted to crack. So if you look at it, Engati is sort of building out assistants in the e-commerce domain. And one of the big challenges with customers in the e-commerce domain is they have so much data they have no time to understand the data. So if you are a customer who is onboarded with Engati, we have something called a seller assist, which helps the seller. And how does it help? It helps by giving insights from the different data that they have in the e-commerce system. It also has a query interface where you can directly ask a query, and using the Eastern GPT technology, we can answer a query from your orders data, which is hosted in the on-premise or in your cloud, but not going anywhere outside that. So I have this insight summary that I can get as a message that broadcast, as we call it. And if you look at it, this will be pushed to all the customers. You can also directly type "show me my insights" and see the insights. Now, if you want to understand abandoned checkout, why it is happening and what is the loss you're facing because you're not recovering money from all the ads that you ran and got all your users to the website, and now you cannot actually recover the money because they have abandoned the cart and gone. You would like to understand the behavior. You would like to know why it is happening, where it is happening. So if you look at things like, oh, most of the abandoned checkouts are from Google, that means your Google ads are not working, do something about it. Or like the time or the day, these are all interesting things. Maybe you're running a campaign on the wrong day, right? So this gives you insights as a data science team or a data analyst team would give it to you, but all in text form, easily consumable. Now I may want to know more about this, right? Okay, you told me about what are the problems. Tell me something more about it, right? And this goes into more detail as you drill down, and it gives you a lot of statistics about your abandoned checkout, and tries to correlate that to the other factors that may have contributed to it. And all of this will be served directly in WhatsApp or any other channel that you have. Now, looking at all of this, I may want to know which are the top, let's say, abandoned products. So let me type that. So now, as I was mentioning some time back, we are trying to get sort of insights from the structured data, which is available from Shopify, and also mix it with the website data or any other unstructured text data that you have. So look at it. I switched completely from the insights to now querying about which are the products which are contributing to my abandon. I would like to know about it by a very simple query, which Eastern GPT is understanding, giving you the answers in a structured manner from your abandoned checkout data. And let's say this is for the last 7 days, right? I may want to know, is there a problem in 7 days or is it a problem for the entire month? And I would like to know, okay, what are the top products which are abandoned in the entire month? Sorry, this one is probably not giving answer. Let me try in a different way. Let's try to see if I can get it for the last 2 weeks. So wherever the bot is unable to answer, it could be because it is not trained on it. It will give you some tip and say that it doesn't know the answer. Nothing, those things can be fixed by more training. But if you look at it, I asked what are the top abandoned products for the last 2 weeks, and it was able to give me the answer. So with this, if you look at it, how would you analyze your data? If you have an Excel data over last month of checkouts, you would like to sort and filter and do all of your things. If you are a data analyst, you will need hours to do that to get to this sort of insight as to what are the trend you are seeing in the abandoned checkout. Like if you look at this, let's take one particular example from here, right? Cross stitch jacket, a lot of checkouts in the last week, but I don't see it here. So that means that product is probably, or sorry, I see it here, which is in the 6th position, but here it is increased. So my cross stitch jacket abandoned checkout is increasing. So I need to do something about it. Maybe it is not priced properly. Maybe I'm not giving a correct discount. So now, after I've seen this, let me ask tips for reducing So, okay, I've seen this product. I'll have to go and check why these products are having so many checkouts. And I may also want to drill down into the product, which is possible. But for the demo, I just wanted to now switch from the structured data to unstructured. So I want to get some tips for abandoned checkouts, and using the GPT technology and eSense, we're giving you answers that the end user will understand, some very basic and sometimes very specific tips about how would you improve. So for example, it is possible that you missed out kind of making your website mobile friendly. So a lot of mobile devices are coming in and they are seeing a very bad experience in checkout and they're dropping off. So you're switching from structured data from to flow to unstructured data, and all of that happens seamlessly. And at any point of time, if the end user has a problem, want to get help, talk to a human, they can talk to an agent. That is possible. They can seamlessly transfer. So with that, I would kind of conclude the demo part. And I think, Eric, we can probably open it up for questions, right?
Yeah, there is the stack part that you want to, if you want to take the
maybe
audience.
Maybe quickly run through this for the people who are technically inclined. So we are building out technology stack for generative AI, and this is a diagram from one of the most prominent venture capitalists in the US, who's funding a lot of startups working in generative AI. So the hardware, the cloud platform, all known, Google, AWS, Microsoft Azure, they're already doing this. So the sort of sky blue layer that you see on top of the cloud platform is the GPT technology, right? So you have a lot of this foundational models, which are the LLMs that we talked about. And we have a lot of open source models which are coming up, very promising. And we have model hubs like Hugging Face and a lot of model repositories. So a lot of these models are now, thousands of models are now available for use. Engati always picks the state-of-the-art models from them, evaluates them, and makes it available through the assistants. Engati's focus is on the top layer, which is apps and the end-to-end apps on the left-hand side. We can build quickly any app for your use case on one of the state-of-the-art model, which is a generic model. But I think more interesting is, can we build a domain LLM that I demoed? So the end-to-end app is where we understand your use case, understand the domain problem, and we build out a domain LLM. We give it out to people who can now overlay that domain LLM data with their data. And the way Engati has built this out is, we avoid hallucination by ensuring that all answers come from the customer's data or comes from the verified domain data, never from the ChatGPT. We never ask ChatGPT to give any answer. We always rely on the customer data or the domain data. If we do not find an answer, we'll say, sorry, I do not have the answer. So that's the way we are grounding all the conversations onto the data that is available by the enterprise or in the domain, but never to ChatGPT, which may hallucinate. And we are working on use cases in marketing, sales, customer service, horizontal use cases, vertical use cases. We are a horizontal platform, but we want to go vertical and build out vertical domains. So that's our overall story so far on the technology side. And we can now open up for questions.
Okay. So yeah, before I move on, or hand it over to Anvesh to answer questions from our audience, I wanted to kind of touch upon one particular question that I am facing with my audience, right? We are speaking to various enterprise leaders. And while, I'm doing this demo, everything exactly what Anvesh has showed you today, I'm doing this demo multiple times a day with various different brands. And while everybody is there, okay, this is great, I can see that it's going to be useful or it's interesting. How effective is it actually, right? They always have this question. And to answer that question, let's break it down into two sections. One is the, when you say how effective, you can ask, will my customers actually want to talk to an intelligent bot over a human being, right? Let's take that part of the question first. So yeah, in my experience, and I'm sure there are a lot more people like me, right? Let's again take the same two examples that I shared in my introduction: healthcare and investing, right? So with healthcare, let's take a more sensitive topic, let's like depression or something like that, right? A depressed person would rather talk to a bot that you are sure is trained with qualified and certified, verifiable data, and you're not getting any bias or something like that. I would much prefer talking to a bot about what my current condition is. Maybe not talking to a bot as a counselor, even though there are solutions for that, but just understanding more about my condition. I would much prefer doing that with an anonymous bot that is not biased over maybe a person. I may not be very comfortable. The same example can be said for, let's say I have a little more money than usual to invest. I would rather, again, if I am assured that this bot is going to give me unbiased, qualified, up-to-date advice, I would rather get it from a bot than maybe some salesperson who just wants to close an account so that he meets his monthly quota and things like that, right? So these are just two of the examples where I would think that customers would rather speak to an intelligent AI assistant than a human. Now let's look at the other side of things, where customers again ask me, okay, Eric, this is really good. How is it going to help me, right? And the answers are, like I said, there are so many. In one of the slides that we went through, there are so many ways that a generative AI assistant is better for you. But let's look at the quantifiable places, right? Obviously, it's going to help you in lead gen. You are going to be able to reach a lot more customers, interact with a lot more prospects and customers, and you can do the personalized recommendations based on customer behavior, cross-sell and upsell relevant products, not everything from your catalog. And then you also have something called assisted conversion, right? So again, let's say I, for example, have asked a lot of questions about mental health to a hospital bot, and I've got all the answers, but I still have not brought myself to actually book a session with a therapist. Now, if you were the hospital, you have a live human agent who now has seen this conversation and this intent, and will be able to make a call to me very, with all the relevant information, not being very pushy, just asking when I'll be available, maybe push me to book an appointment at my own convenience. This is assisted conversion, which all of these examples that I gave you are quantifiable benefits to an AI assistant that has this type of generative AI intelligence built in, especially when it comes to the specific domain. So yeah, that was just one thing that I wanted to cover. I will hand it over to Anvesh now to take questions from the audience.
Thank you, Eric. I will go through the chat. I think there are 4 or 5 very good questions here. I'll start with thank you, Enrica, for your question. That's a very good question about data privacy concern. This is the first thing that comes up in a lot of discussions, and especially with model like GPT-4. So there are various ways technically to do it, but let me simplify that and make it something that everybody will understand. So you have the highest concern where you don't want any data to be given to anybody. You want everything to be in your own cloud, to the lowest concern where, oh, all this data is website data, everything is public. ChatGPT already has been trained on it. I don't care about the GPT answering a question on that data, because the data is already there. Everybody has access to it. There is no personal identifiable information in it. So really it is not confidential, right? So let's talk about the highest concern that many customers have. This is enterprise data, nobody can see it, nobody has access to it. So there are multiple ways to do it. One is we can have LLM hosted in the enterprise private cloud, in which case that LLM may not be a LLM that is a GPT LLM. It can be a custom open source LLM trained on that customer's data. and that open source LLM doesn't have access to internet. It cannot push out any information to the internet, and that can be trained on your data. In which case, all your data is within your network, doesn't go out, and all the queries, all the responses, everything is stored within your private cloud. Many customers would adopt that. Custom LLMs or open source based custom LLMs are quickly coming up, and we are already investing in it. We are trying out different open source LLMs, training them. So that is something that will be available very soon. So that is one option for highest concern in data privacy. The other one is, if let's say you are already a customer for an enterprise cloud platform, you're an enterprise customer in Google, GCP or Azure or AWS or any of the big cloud platform that where your data already lies. So all your data is already in GCP. Now you can decide that if the data is already in GCP, can I use the Vertex model that or the PaLM model that Google has? And can I use the Vertex AI capabilities of Google? Because Google authorizes or kind of confirms to you that that data is only used for answering questions, is stored in memory during answering questions, never persisted anywhere, not used for training, not sent anywhere. So if you trust Google and you want to tap into the generative AI tool that Google provides, then we can use that model. The good thing about Engati is we are integrated with all the different models, be it Azure GPT models, the OpenAI GPT models, and the Bard GPT models, and now the open source, right? So that is another way to say that I can ensure that all my data stays in-house, never goes out. You may have some data that is stored in your website, which everybody has access to. For that, you may want to use a GPT-3 or a GPT-4 or a BARD model, or you may fall back to the previous option based on your comfort factor and based on what use cases you have. Like marketing data is always out there. You could decide which approach to take, and Engati gives you the options for ensuring the highest level of privacy and to the extent that all the data will be inside your private cloud. Now, there is one more question from Krishna, which I'll take on. Thank you, Krishna. So in a market which is flooded with low-cost providers for GPT-4 LLMs, what's the unique feature that Engati brings in? And how is it different from the other sort of providers in terms of customization, support, and integration? So that's a very good question and very comprehensive one, which touches upon a lot of features that we already have in Engati. So for sure, we have a conversational AI platform where out-of-the-box integration, customization support already is available. Now, with respect to LLMs, as we were discussing, that all these LLMs are generalized knowledge sort of gatherers. So they have gathered knowledge and kind of come with generalized knowledge, generalized intelligence to some extent, but they do not know anything about enterprise, right? Or what business they're running, what kind of product they're selling, what products are selling the most, what products should be recommended. These are all internal data of the enterprise, which none of the LLM providers that we're talking of have access to, right? So they cannot ever ask a question and get an answer for that. So that is why Engati is kind of bridging that gap, where it is ensuring that we are answering questions from the enterprise data. We are not answering from ChatGPT memory, or we are answering it from the domain data, which we've gathered and curated and verified. So that is something that is very critical. And also to avoid hallucination and give out factual information on your data. Another point is, as we demoed, Engati has the capability to seamlessly go from LLM-based query to a workflow and trigger an integration API call to your enterprise system and come back to like insights from your data. So all of this can be very easily done with Engati, and I think that is a big differentiator for us. And Engati is in this business for the last 7 years. There are a few more. I think I'll just quickly touch upon that since we just have another 4 minutes. There was one question on hallucination and false positive. I think I covered it. We are grounding all the answers that the assistant gives on the enterprise data or on the domain data, which is verified, but never going to ChatGPT and getting an answer. In certain cases, which is not factual, and we just want to, like, let's say I want to generate an email which with a very good theme, we may tap into ChatGPT and use the existing knowledge that they have, because you're not directly sharing that email with the customer. You're just asking the model to compose an email, and the marketing executive is going through it, modifying it. Productivity is improving, and ChatGPT is good at that. So wherever it is good at, we may tap into it, but never tap into it for answers which lie in the enterprise data or the domain data. Now, I think there's one more last question on concrete use cases and something related to bias mitigation and domain specific models. So use cases, I think Eric has touched upon multiple times. I've also talked about it. We are focusing on multiple domains: healthcare, finance, insurance, e-commerce, edtech, and use cases varies from marketing to sales to customer service, data analysis. And regarding bias in domain models, so bias is definitely a problem. And the way we do it is we extensively evaluate all the models on the data set that we are creating for all of these domains. And we definitely have the end users kind of review that, not the end users, the customers review that data, work with us, verify the accuracy, and we have tools to kind of see if there is any drift in the data and address that. So with that, I'll kind of conclude the question answering session.
Thanks, Anvesh. That was a lot of information, but good information. As someone who does this daily, I still think it was a lot of new information that I got. So I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who joined us for the webinar. I hope I hope it was a good use of your time and your questions were answered. Please feel free to reach out to us at Engati. And you most probably will have me to talk to, and I will reach out and let's see if we can take this conversation further. Thank you once again, and have a good evening or the rest of the day, wherever you have joined us from. Thanks.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you for joining the webinar. There's one last question which I wanted to answer about what is the expected wait time for utilizing this feature. These features are already available. If you can reach out to us, we can talk to you, figure out your use case, and get you going quickly. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.